My name is Allison Hardy. I am a personal trainer. I'm an artist. I'm a former college art professor. I'm a mom of one. I have a little guy who's 2.5, and I'm a pastor's wife. So life is always interesting in the Hardy household. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit today about financial goals and why I have certain goals that relate to money. And I know in business, it's not all about money. It's about helping people for me. Um, but a financial goal holds me accountable and it helps me to kind of accomplish one of my missions in my business. So, my goal for 2016 is to make $60,000 in a year. I know that's not a lot of money to some people, but it could really impact my family and my community um, in a big way. So, 60 grand goal for 2016. So the reason why I have that goal is that it will allow me to give in the way that I want to give. So I mentioned earlier, I am a pastor's wife, right? Um, so I understand money in churches. I understand that churches need money in order to do the things that they need to do and that they're called to do. So by being able to give more to my church, it will help me to accomplish that goal. Um, as Christians, we are called to give 10% of our income. That's called tithing. We're required to tithe. And quite honestly, we are not able to tithe at this current moment in time. So I would really love to be able to fully tithe. And one of the reasons why I would really love to be able to fully tithe is because when there's that act of sort of handing over your money that you make, are you reading message? What do you mean by that? Um, if you are willing to sort of hand over that money that you make, you become more invested in whatever it is that you're doing. So I tell this to personal training clients all the time when I get kind of like a kickback on, or not a kickback, a pushback on the cost of certain programs. So generally my programs run around $140, which is a chunk of change. And I will be the first one to admit that. But the reason why that price exists is because when you put money towards something, you are going to accomplish it. So it's just like a business coach. If you pay a business coach $1,000, you better get $1,000 worth of your money out of it. And that's kind of how I view fitness, and that's also how I view tithing and giving. When you become invested in something, you expect to get results, and you become more invested mentally, physically, spiritually, things like that. So like Shakeology, for example, when we first started Shakeology, it was $130 a bag. That's a lot of money. Granted, it's a 30-day supply and all that, but still, 130 bucks. That's a lot. Then I started drinking it, and I understood the value in it. So I still drink it to this day, every single day. And now my husband's on it, so we buy 2 bags of Shakeology every single month. And it's a big chunk of change, but we both drink it every single day because we know that it's good for us, and we've seen the changes in our bodies since drinking it. So we're invested in it because of the money we spent on it. So the same thing goes with your church. I know that's kind of a funny comparison, but it's true. The more you give to your church, the more invested you'll be in it. The more you'll care about the building, the more you'll care about the people, the more you'll care about the programs. And that sort of investment, both financially and personally, makes you stronger. And in turn, you'll get stronger spiritually. So tithing is a good thing. It's my goal for 2016. Another reason why I want to make $60,000 and give generously in 2016 is because of things that I could make a free lunch. You're right. For like, you could make kind of free lunch. Yeah, we could do a free lunch program. We could do everything. We could do all kinds of things. So another reason why I would like to make 60 grand in 2016 is because of some mission work that I feel is very important. So I have 3 kind of programs that I feel are great and that people should give to. And they are World Vision is the largest Christian aid organization in the world. We have a sponsored child through World Vision. His name is Abu, and he lives in Ethiopia. And I feel a special connection to Ethiopia for some reason. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why Ethiopia, but Ethiopia it is. So today is actually Abu's birthday. He turned 17 today, which means I can only sponsor him for another year. World Vision doesn't allow you to sponsor kids over the age of 18 because they're no longer kids, they're adults. And I would like to make our last year together really special for Abu. Last Christmas, we gave him $100, and with his $100, this 16-year-old boy purchased cows, chickens, goats for his family. Like, seriously, what 16-year-old boy does this? He learned how to be a farmer. He learned how to harvest the animals. He learned how to get eggs from the chickens. He learned how to make the horses work for him. He learned how to make the cows work for him. And it's crazy to think that this 16-year-old boy spent $100 in this way. And it puts things in perspective. We live in the United States, we are very fortunate to do that. But it's kind of amazing what people around the world, how they live. So for me, that kind of spoke volumes. So for Abu's last year of sponsorship, I would like to make a big impact on his life. And if I could give an extra $100 a month, why not? I think that's awesome. The second mission project that I feel really important, is the Highland Support Project. So in 2012, my husband and I, he was working at a church in Alexandria, Virginia. And this church really supported a program called the Highland Support Project. And it was in Guatemala. And it was for the people of the Highlands in Guatemala, which is a really, 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 really kind of, it's very tall. It's very high up. It's higher than any mountain in the U.S. And these people are kind of isolated up there. They live up there because their community was destroyed by a flood a couple years earlier, so they moved higher, which poses a whole new thing of problems. The community is amazing. They support one another physically, financially. It's all kind of a big co-op, and they all live together in these little houses made of cinder blocks. But the problem is that there's no plumbing. So when they have their latrines, the latrines empty into the grounds that they grow their food in. So they have some health problems. And when we went there in 2012, we started building a community center. They completed that in 2015, so 2-year-long project, and now they're working on getting running water, which will impact their health significantly. So I think it's awesome. The main thing that I think is amazing about these people is their community. They are very supportive of one another. They help each other out, and it's very much so a sort of a co-op type of way of living. It's really cool. When we stayed in the village with them, and it was kind of a phenomenal experience. So Highland Support Project, number 2 on my list. Number 3 is a mission project called Little Sparrows that's in Yeager, West Virginia. So we live about 4 hours from Yeager, West Virginia, and Yeager, West Virginia, I believe, is the poorest city in the United States, I think. It's in the poorest county in the United States, which is McDowell County in West Virginia. But this is something our current church supports. So my husband went there I think it was in November, October, sometime in the fall, and he came back saying that the conditions in Yeager, West Virginia are worse than anything he's ever seen. He's been to some crazy places doing mission work. So for him to say that kind of made me listen. There's no running water. Many of the homes do not have insulation. Many of the homes do not have carpet or wood floors. They have dirt floors. And the people there do not have money to feed their families. So they rely mostly on donations. And in the wintertime, things get really, really sparse. There's no refrigeration. There's no microwaves. There's no ovens. There's no electricity. So they live over campfires, which is terrible to think about, that these people live 4 hours from me, I live this way, and this community lives this way. He said the conditions were just deplorable. And so our church raises money to provide them food throughout the winter. And of course it has to be food that doesn't have to be refrigerated, doesn't have to be microwaved in order to eat. So it's cereal and canned meats and things like that. So Little Sparrows, I would love to support them and give generously to them. So that's why I like to give generously. That's why I want to give generously. I'll go to down my list again. Reasons why I want to give generously in 2016: to fully tithe to my church, and to give to 3 mission organizations that I feel are very important. So World Vision, my sponsored Child Abu, Highland Support Project in Guatemala, and Little Sparrows in Yeager, West Virginia. So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, or if you want to support these organizations, I would love to help you to do that. So you can email me. My email is sweatflexshine@gmail.com. And again, my name is Allison Hardy. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great Friday. I'll talk to you guys later.